Hey everybody, I guess I'm not playing it. This is funny. Well, maybe this one. I don't get that. I don't get that. I guess there was an error. I don't get that. How you guys all doing? Hello, hello, hello everybody. Yeah, impressive. I must confess, you have nice content, man. I'll love to come along with my friends to your next stream. Add me on Discord. Yeah, go for it. Yeah, when I get a time to, I'll check you out on Discord. Okay. And thank you again for joining the Chaos Engine. Hope you guys are having a good day. I have no idea if this is going to actually even work. I have no idea. Yeah, I don't have zombies. Both of these are locked at the upgrade. So what is this? What is upgrade now? Oh, that's to okay. So that's to get the Volt edition. How you guys all doing? Welcome in, welcome. I'm just trying to get it to load up. It sent a message earlier saying that there was an error and that it had to kick me out. So I have no idea. So I'm pretty much just waiting for it to load, and it seems to have frozen on me. Yeah, it's a beautiful day. Again, thank you again for the J Boy for the follow. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. I have no idea what's going on. It's having all kinds of issues, I guess. Another bug reported when it logged in. Could mean that it's going to kick me out again, so I have no idea. Oh, so I can't play the single player. Okay, so let's, I guess, do the multiplayer.
Welcome to the Black Ops 6 multiplayer beta. We're extremely excited for you to join us in this early look at our game, officially launching on October 25th. As you dive in, we encourage you to check out the training course to get a feel for the all-new Omni Movement system, which allows you to move like a true Black Ops action hero.
Okay.
Throughout the beta, we'll be introducing new maps and modes to keep things fresh. Remember, this is a small portion of what we have in store for launch, where you'll experience 16 brand new multiplayer maps, in addition to a full arsenal of new Black Ops guns, gear, and gadgets. We're still hard at work crafting the full launch experience. We encourage you to reach the level cap each week of the beta to experience all of the exciting new features and content. and the feedback you provide is crucial in helping us make Black Ops 6 the best it can be. As a bonus, you will earn exclusive rewards that can be equipped in the beta and carry forward into the official release on October 25th. From all of us working on Black Ops 6, thank you for being a part of our community, and we hope you enjoy your time in the beta.
Now, let's see what happens here. Okay, I gotta hold on. I gotta do this. Yo, what am I doing here? Oh yeah, I gotta get it off this screen so I can get it on this screen. Alright. Okay, first of all, I need to check. I need to fix that. No, it's not it. That's not it. All right, let's. Okay, hold on. I gotta. Hold on. I hate doing this. No, I don't have it. Hold on. Sorry, having some issues. Okay, maybe it's not this one. Hold on, having issues. Da, 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 da. Oops, I need to go profile. Need to go settings. Go widgets and this.
Right in the fire, right in the fire. Right in the fire.
Hey, buddy. What you doing? What you doing? What you doing, buddy, 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 buddy? I love you. Yeah, I love you. I love you. You are such a good boy. Yes, you are. You are such a good boy. Talking to Carlo, my dog. He's wants some loving. His dad is not here. Dad's at work, so we're hanging out. Yeah. You can lay in there if you want to. I got you, buddy. Okay, what's wrong? All right, guys.
Not gonna repeat myself, so listen the fuck up. There's training stations all over the island.
All right.
Complete them all so we can verify your sorry ass is ready for combat. The hell you waiting for? Get out there. changes fast. You gotta be ready to move in any direction at any time.
Don't move. Oh. I have no idea what I'm doing right now. Uh, Hello? Oh. How do you... Okay, can I get up? Damn it. Guess what? I have to... So I gotta do this while sprinting and diving. Oh, what? I can't do this. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. Okay, so I got all these targets. Shoot any target while diving right. Okay, I'm getting frustrated with this. Okay. I just dived. Okay, shift. Shift. Okay, that's not a dive. I just want to play. Oh, you know, I think it's the funniest fucking shit in the world that people are stupid. I really do. What am I black? I love it. Am I blacklisted? I'm serious. Am I blacklisted on Kick, on everything? Because everybody was throwing shit fits about everybody playing Call of Duty, Call of Duty, Call of Duty, Call of Duty, and you guys are all with your heads up your butts, and you guys can't figure out what you want to do. I mean, does anybody care that I play? I mean, does anybody really care that I play shit? I mean, if I'm not going to have an audience, then why am I playing? I mean, I don't know. Look at this. 136, 126, 118, 48. And I've got, what, 2 people in my channel. I mean, okay, where am I? This is funny. What, because I wasn't freaking moving? You're gonna shit post me? Yeah, because it was a training thing.
Rain in the fire, rain in the fire. Rain in the rain in the fire. Rain in the fire, rain in the fire. Rain in the fire.
No, I'm frustrated right now. I'm just frustrated. So I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say this once. I love you guys. I'm not gonna play it right now. I'll play it later. I'm gonna chill out with my son's Carlo. Um, Again, I love you guys. It's a major heartburn right now, so yeah, I'm gonna kind of take a little sidetrack. How you guys all doing? Oh wait, this has everything in it, right? That one too. Don't need that one. Okay, what does that mean? Does it still work? I mean, it still works. I don't get that. I wonder if I can do this. Okay, hold on. I need to do this. Okay, hold on. Let's do 500. Let's do 8. No, let's go back 1. 7. No, let's go back 5. No, let's go back 8. No, 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 no. That's not what I want. 4. Okay, let's put you right here. Let's do this. Yo, I love you. Oh. That's much better. That's much better. That's what I want. That's what I want. There you go. Put that like right there. What we'll do, let's see here. Let's get off that. Let's get to this stream elements. Oh, here, I'll do, so while I'm doing this, there we go.
I'm joined by two
Listen
guests
to
who have
this.
memorably locked horns on Uncensored before, the author of Rabbi Shmuley and the Young Turks
No,
host
I
and
don't want
creator Cenk Uygur. Two friends of the show, and I hope we can keep this, at the very least, respectful. Are you prepared to watch the IDF kill in Rafah to avenge what happened on October the 7th? You're a rabbi.
Rabbi.
Hamas are Nazis with GoPros. Young Turks is essentially the Hitler Youth.
I don't like Hamas. I don't want Hamas to win. Hamas made us murder your children, made us murder your women. No, they didn't. You did that. Anti-Semite.
You don't know any history whatsoever. Cenk doesn't know basic facts.
Candace Owens' critique of Israel is perfectly legitimate.
She says that the First Lady of France has male genitalia and testicles and says as a man. She said that she would stake her whole reputation on that last week. Listen, stop your ad hominems. I want to ask one question, Pierce.
Rabbi, let him speak.
I have one question. Pierce,
Hey, he
why
won't
he answer the
shut
question?
up!
This is a catastrophe.
I don't know what you want me to tell you. I'm never coming on with him again.
Come on, Shank.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has again defied international criticism, warning an IDF offensive in Rafah is inevitable and will last for several weeks. Israel says that not invading the city of 1.5 million people, many of whom, of course, are refugees from elsewhere in Gaza, means admitting defeat to Hamas. Critics, including many of Israel's allies, fear it means many thousands more innocent lives will now be lost. To debate this, I'm joined by two guests who have memorably locked horns on Uncensored before. One of them has been on the sharp end of significant criticism lately, including from me. More on that later. But I'm joined now by the author of The Israel Warrior and Kosher Sex, Rabbi Shmuley, and the Young Turks host and creator, Cenk Uygur. Well, welcome to both of you. Cenk, let me ask you first of all, a lot of heat coming from America towards Benjamin Netanyahu, with Chuck Schumer basically implying that he should be replaced as leader in a new election as soon as possible. What do you make of that?
It's all.
Yeah, it's unprecedented. I think people need to understand what a giant deal this is. The leadership of either party, Democrats or Republicans, have never, ever broken with Israel. Chuck Schumer is one of the biggest supporters of Israel in the whole country. For him to come out and say enough is enough, you've got to turn around, you've got to call new elections, and Netanyahu is damaging Israel is an enormous moment in American-Israeli relations. And he's not alone. Thomas Friedman, also an enormous Israeli supporter, wrote an article in the New York Times saying that Israel is now radioactive. And so these are not enemies of Israel. And the same goes for me. Allies of Israel saying, please turn around, because this is not good for, like, look, I care deeply about the Palestinians. I'm not sure that the Schumers of the world or the Bidens of the world have ever shown that. But all of us care about Israel as well. And this is catastrophic for Israel's reputation. And you do not want Israel to be alone in the world again. 21,000 women and children have been slaughtered at a minimum. Now 1.1 million Palestinians are starving as we speak now. You must turn around, otherwise this is horrific, not just for those starving innocent human beings, but also for Israel itself.
Rabbi Shmuley, I mean, you've been obviously extremely passionate in your support of what Israel's been doing in response to that terror attack on October the 7th, but attacking Rafah, which is a refugee camp right now, with 1.5 million people, the vast majority of whom are completely innocent people, many, many, many hundreds of thousands of women and children. This is going to be a catastrophe if Netanyahu goes ahead with attacking Rafah, isn't it?
The catastrophe for the Palestinian people is Hamas, Hamas, Hamas. If Israel does not destroy the last two military battalions who are encamped in Rafah, without whom there cannot be more terror attacks, we'll have peace in the Middle East. It's a catastrophe for the Palestinians, whose food was stolen for 18 years before this war by the leadership, Ismail Haniyeh, who's worth $7 billion. Where was the outrage of Cenk Uygur back then? How is it that these guys are flying around in private jets while the Palestinians were suffering for 18 years with no hope? This is not about caring about the Palestinians. It's about pure anti-Semitism. Let's look at March 14th, 2024, a date that will live in infamy in the annals of the United States Senate, where a Senate majority leader called for regime change of the only democracy in the Middle East. By the way, I want to congratulate Vladimir Putin, a real nail biter yesterday, where he only won by 90% of the vote. Schumer did not call for regime change in Russia. He didn't call for regime change. Bashar al-Assad, Israel's next-door neighbor, who killed 600 700,000 Arabs. He didn't call for regime change in Turkey. My friend Cenk was born in Turkey, where you have the Turkish tyrant Erdogan, who slaughters and imprisons journalists. He didn't call for regime change in Qatar.
So what does that tell you?
The
What does
biggest
that tell
funder
you?
of Hamas.
Okay, but Rabbi Shmuley, what does that tell you about the strength of feeling in America amongst senior politicians about what its great ally Israel is currently doing? Their initial full-scale support.
It tells me that it's a fair question, Pierce. And by the way, thank you for having me on again. It tells me that President Biden, who's a good man, but he's 81 years old, has allowed one city in the United States, Dearborn, Michigan. Michigan is the critical swing state, where you have a congresswoman named Rashida Tlaib, who is a dyed-in-the-wool anti-Semite, not anti-Israel, a Jew hater. He has allowed one city to dictate the presidential election. This is all about presidential politics, and Chuck Schumer allowed himself to be Joe Biden's court Jew. They needed a Jew to get on the Senate floor and say that the people of Israel will no longer be a democracy. To my friend Cenk, the last time we were on, I said to him, you withdrew your presidential campaign. I'm sorry that you were outpolled by even, SpongeBob SquarePants, but you went back from your presidential campaign. If you want, you could run as the chief information officer for Hamas because you parrot their lies about Israel's being genocidal. But I will tell you one thing. How is it that people do not care one bit that the leadership of Hamas have stolen the future of the Palestinian people for 18 years, and only when Hamas is destroyed and removed.
All right, Rabbi Shmuley, I think, look, a lot of people will share your concern about what Hamas has done in those 18 years. They will also think that Netanyahu has basically admitted that he was perfectly happy with Hamas running Gaza because it separated the Palestinians from Hamas and the Palestinian Authority. But you haven't, in all that rant you've just unleashed about this, you haven't actually answered my question. And I will make it, personal to you. You're a rabbi. When you see a refugee camp, that is what it is. When you see a refugee camp with 1.5 million people, they've all been sent there and displaced there by Israel, by the bombardment in the north. When you see this, and you see Netanyahu saying, we're going to go in for several weeks, surely you don't think this is a good idea for Israel, that you're going to see the wholesale slaughter of innocent women and children?
It's a fair question. Again, Pierce, let me be clear. War is horrible. War is terrible. Israel has said that they will move those 1.5 million civilians, but war is always terrible. Has Netanyahu made mistakes, especially when he allowed Qatar to continue to give Hamas $1 billion a year? Yes, he did make those mistakes. I'm personally friendly with Netanyahu. I was critical of that decision at the time. I remain so. But let's be clear. Without 700,000 Americans dying in the Civil War, which is atrocious, we might have had slavery, God forbid. If we didn't destroy Nazi Germany, there was starvation in Berlin. Innocent, beautiful German children. They weren't Nazis. Those who were conscripted into the Hitler Youth. And by the way, Young Turks is essentially the Hitler Youth. I don't know why Cenk uses that name still. He's going back. They were the ones who perpetrated the Armenian genocide. These German children were not responsible. Japanese children were not responsible. Japanese children were not responsible. But without destroying Hamas, there will be war for the next 100 years.
And let me just say that you've gone once again very ad hominem with the other guest when he hadn't on you.
I'm not going ad hominem. You cannot use a genocidal name for your podcast.
Let me go to Cenk.
I'm sorry.
Cenk, your response.
Yeah, look, Piers, I wasn't supposed to come on with this guy. I was supposed to come on with a different guest. I'm never coming on with him again. He's all he has is ad hominem. So you ask him about 21 to 25,000 women.
Are you really that afraid of me that every time you use a debate, you say you're not going to come on?
Let him speak, please.
Come on, Cenk.
Let him speak.
Cenk, you ran for president.
Let him speak,
you won't
please,
even debate
Rabbi
people.
Shmuley.
Come on, you can't run.
Rabbi, let him speak. Cenk.
Okay, Rabbi Shmuley says he wants to murder more women and children and then calls us genocidal because we're trying to protect women and children both in Israel and in Palestine. You see me sticking up for Israel when Hamas attacks. You see me criticizing Hamas, saying they're terrible. I don't agree with them. You see me trying to protect innocent lives on both sides. Then this guy comes on. He says, kill more Palestinians. We killed, what, 700,000, he said, in another war. So are you going to go to 700,000 in Gaza?
The
Rabbi
Civil War, for
Shmuley.
God's sake. I wish you knew a little bit of American.
Rabbi
you don't know any American
Shmuley,
history.
who says murder,
Read
murder, murder,
Wikipedia,
murder,
for
murder, murder.
God's
That's
sake.
all this rabbi.
See, this is it.
Hey, okay, I've got to say
Genocidal,
one
Jews
more
are
thing.
murderers, Jews are killers.
No, shut up.
Pierce,
Pierce,
can I ask this man one question? The man
No,
who ran
you
for
can't ask
president.
anything.
with
All
no
you ever do is lie.
Shut up and everything. Listen, stop your ad hominems. I want to ask one question, Pierce. Of
My
Chuck
ad
Hagel.
hominems.
If you care about the Palestinians,
Get up.
I have one question. Why don't you call, Cenk, for the unconditional surrender of Hamas today, the release of the hostages, and the war will be over? I am challenging you now to call for the
I don't care about any of
unconditional
your
surrender
stupid
of Hamas.
challenges, and I'm not
Will
going to
you do
answer any
so
of your
or not?
stupid
Will
questions.
you do so or not?
No, listen. I'm not entertaining this.
Pierce,
fool
why
of a
won't he
man.
answer the question?
Okay,
Pierce,
hey, he
why
won't
won't he answer the
shut
question?
up. No, there's no talking to this guy.
Let me
Pierce,
check.
there's no
Cenk,
talking to
let me
this
ask
guy.
Cenk. I want to play you a clip, Cenk, of Netanyahu at the weekend. This is what he said.
Okay, can I just, before you do, Pierce?
Yeah.
Look, I hope that everybody in the audience understands that this guy isn't helping Israel at all. He's putting a very, very ugly face to Israel, and I hope that you don't make the mistake out in the audience of thinking that everyone in
Well,
Israel,
I'm gonna come-
or
I'm
God
gonna-
forbid, hold on, let me finish.
Yeah.
Or that anyone else that is Jewish thinks anything like your Rabbi Shmuley does. My Jewish friends are horrified, horrified by the
Cenk,
death
do me a favor,
toll.
Cenk.
Rabbi
Cenk, you
doesn't
have
care.
said that
The
Jews are
rabbi doesn't
murderers,
care at
killers.
all. He's the most
Come on,
immoral man I have ever met in my
don't speak
life.
over each other.
You
All right.
cannot be.
Okay,
wait a second.
go
Wait
ahead,
a
ask
second.
me.
I
No,
asked him a
shut
simple.
up.
Pierce, I asked a simple
And
question.
let Piers ask the question.
I would like to play what Netanyahu said and ask Cenk for his reaction. Here we are from Fox News.
When people tell us don't go into Rafah, that's like telling the Allies, listen, don't go into Berlin, leave a quarter of the Nazi army intact. You know, that's ridiculous. You know, if we leave a quarter of the Hamas fighting terrorist battalions in place, they'll regroup, reconquer Gaza, and in fact, perpetrate once again what they vowed to do, which is to repeat the October 7th massacre over and over and over again.
Cenk, your reaction to that?
Yeah, so this guy has been justifying the slaughter of Palestinians from day one. You have to understand something. In order for Israel to get peace, which should be the goal of its leaders and its citizens, and it is certainly of its citizens, but I don't know, definitely not its leaders at this point in time. You have to get the peace as you did with Egypt. With Egypt, there are no more bombs. You've had peace for over 40 years, and all of the doubters and all the right-wingers and all the warmongers told you, oh, Egypt will never listen. Egypt will keep trying to kill you. Egypt's going to try to kill all the Jews. But they didn't. The warmongers were lying to you, just like they're lying to you today. And why are they doing that? They're doing it because they want to remain in power. Netanyahu knows the minute that this war, and by the way, it's not just Netanyahu, it's also the leaders of Hamas. They should have taken a truce, a ceasefire earlier. They held it up on absurd grounds of not releasing the names of the hostages. So the leaders on both sides profit from this war. But the citizens of Israel are the only people who can change it. The way you get to peace is doing a peace deal. This endless war and the endless occupation is going to prevent you from having the safe haven for Jews that you have desired and deserved all of these years. For God's sake, turn around, not just for the Palestinians, but for the Israelis, so you could finally get the peace. If you do not free the Palestinians, look, I know there's PTSD from the Holocaust.
Pierce,
and
I
right
must
now,
be allowed to
Israel's
respond.
acting
Yeah, you
in a
can respond in a
blind
moment, yeah.
rage.
Cenk, finish.
Israel's
Okay, Pierce,
acting in a blind
Pierce,
rage at this point. But the Palestinians are not Nazis.
Pierce.
They're the Jews. They're the same as the Jews,
Pierce.
victimized, horribly victimized.
Pierce.
Wake
Okay.
up,
I
Israel.
must
Wake
respond,
up.
please.
Don't do the same thing that was done to you.
Pierce, I must respond. These emotional tirades of Cenk Uygur, who sadly, and I'm not saying this to be ad hominem, when we were last on, I begged him, just read a Wikipedia
Well, his name
page.
is Cenk Uygur, for starters.
The Camp David Accords of 1979, which led to the peace with Egypt, was all predicated on a catastrophic military defeat by the Egyptians launched by Anwar Sadat on the 6th of October 1973, Yom Kippur War, where Sadat thought he'd be victorious, and in the end, his Third Army was completely encircled. They were going to be destroyed, and then Sadat came to the conclusion definitively that the only way to proceed is through peace because militarism was destroyed. That's what led to peace. The same was true of World War II with Nazism. The same was true with Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Terrible, terrible events that with Japanese imperialism. There will be no peace until Hamas is destroyed militarily, and my Palestinian brothers and sisters, who are not genocidal, but Hamas is, Hamas are Nazis with GoPros. When militarism is destroyed completely, then the Palestinians
how many
will
people?
come
How many?
with a
All right.
real peace offer, knowing that arms do not work.
Okay, but one question.
Cenk Uygur, who
No,
Cenk
one
Uygur
question.
just said she never
Look,
heard of
his
a
name is
civil war.
Cenk
The
Uygur,
Civil
for
War-
starters. All right, so get his name right. My point to you, Rabbi Shmuley, is this: how many more?
By the way, I apologize for that. I'm sorry.
How
Trey.
many more innocent people are you prepared to watch the IDF kill in Rafah in the next few weeks to avenge what happened on October the 7th? Because it is going to be...
Not one. I don't want one innocent
But there are going to be
Palestinian with God's
thousands
child
more
as much
killed.
as a Jewish child. But they will, if Hamas continues in power, the Palestinians will continue to be brutalized. LGBTQ Palestinians will be castrated. Young Palestinian teenagers will be murdered by their brothers or their cousins for just having a boyfriend at 16. They will die at Hamas's hand for the next 100 years if Israel does not
Why would you
destroy them.
expect...
Just
Okay, let me ask you...
Assad killed 600,000 Arabs.
Why would you expect people in Gaza, after all this, not to want to exact bloody revenge for what is going on in their country? Because the IDF has you have spent months and months and months flatlining Gaza, and you're now about to attack a refugee camp with 1.5 million people in it. Why would you think that doing that is not actually going to present to Israel going forward a worse security threat? Because most independent analysts think it is.
Because my Palestinian brothers and sisters are as human as I, and they have the same ambitions for their children, for their future. They know that Hamas was elected to a 4-year term. They're in their 19th year term. They were supposed to share power with the Palestinian Authority. They took the Palestinian Authority officials, threw them off of rooftops and murdered them, and then took $150 billion.
They did. I mean, a lot of things. There's a lot of things that shouldn't be, a lot of things that should be. But, you never get that
$1
happen.
billion in international aid and bought private jets for their leaders. They understand that ultimately, that's why even when you see the worst news outlets interviewing Palestinians, they say they're suffering, and they are, because of Hamas. But notice they almost never...
But they say it's not Hamas. It's Israel. It's America. They're holding them back. They're not letting them do what they want to do. But still, it's Hamas.
criticize Israel because they know Hamas brought this war upon them. And I challenge Cenk one more time if he wants to respond, since he says he'll never debate me again, and I wouldn't if he was either, because he doesn't know basic information. Cenk, why do you not call right now for Hamas to surrender unconditionally? They provoked this war October 7th and release the hostages.
All right, well, let me... Okay.
Will you call for that now
I think,
not?
you know what? It's a legitimate question. Cenk, your response to that question.
Okay, yeah, but let's just be clear. I'm never going to go on with him again, not because he is a good debater. It's because he's a horrible debater. It's like talking to a ad hominem machine, just one insult after another, not attached to any reality or facts. Okay, now on Hamas. Guys, how many times do I have to say, I don't like Hamas. I don't want Hamas to win. I don't want Hamas to be in power. I want him to surrender. I want him to give all the hostages. That's so easy.
Well, that's a clear answer.
Hold on. That's a super clear answer. And do you know what created Hamas? The occupation. Because when you oppress people and you put them in an open air prison and you take away all their rights and you make them subjugated to another set of people, then radicalism and extremism rises up. What did you think was going to rise up? Gandhi? Did you think that moderates were going to rise up when you put 5 million people in an open air prison, bomb them whenever you like, and starve them whenever you like? Of course they're going to go to extremists who say revenge. And then
Pierce,
this constant
Hamas
excuse
was
that,
democratically elected in 2006.
Can you just let me answer a
Cenk
question?
doesn't know basic facts.
No,
They
he
were
doesn't.
democratically
He doesn't.
elected when Israel left
Pierce, what
Gaza.
am I gonna
The
do with
problem
this
with
guy?
Cenk is Cenk
What am I
read
gonna do with this
Wikipedia.
guy?
Rabbi
The
Shmuley,
next time you debate me,
Rabbi Shmuley, let Cenk finish the point he was making, then you can respond.
Yeah, look, so this constant excuse that the Israeli right wing has of Hamas made me do it. Oh, if it wasn't for Hamas, I wouldn't have to kill Palestinian children. Over 12,000 children now killed by Israel. By Israel, not Hamas. Over 21 to 25,000 women and children killed by Israel, not Hamas. And then they go, well, Hamas made us murder your children, made us murder your women. No, they didn't. You did that. You chose to do that. IDF has now killed 25 to 30 times the number of innocent people that Hamas did. So if you think that's terrorism, what Hamas did, and I do, and I've said it now clearly 200 times, then what Israel and IDF has done is 25 times the terrorism that Hamas has done. And that's a stone cold fact. Go ahead and make any excuses, any ad hominems you like, because every time you talk, Rabbi Shmuley, you make Israel look worse, not better. Go ahead.
Rabbi Shmuley, I would say that on
Pierce,
that...
may I respond? Pierce, may I respond?
Yes, you can. I'm going to make one point, which is...
Okay, thank you.
When you
Yes, please.
appeared last time, we did get a lot of people on the Israeli side, Jewish people, who said you don't reflect their opinions about this. I mean, are you aware that you're a polarizing figure amongst your own community?
Oh, I love the fact that we Jews are a democratic society, democratic community, and democratic Israel. I love it. I love when I get criticism. I learn more from my critics than I do from the people that like me. It's people like Cenk who support people like Erdogan in Turkey, who's a tyrant, who squashes all dissent, and there isn't one Arab democracy. I invite criticism. Pierce, let's just be clear. My problem with Cenk is not personal. Cenk, if I said anything personal, please overlook my shortcomings. I will tell you something. My problem with you, Cenk, is that, respectfully, you don't know any history whatsoever. You didn't hear of the Civil War. I've never debated an American who didn't know what the Civil that war 700.
Of course I know what the Civil War is. That's an absurd thing to say.
Wait a moment. Wait a moment. It's my turn. It's my turn.
He called Senator Schumer
When Cenk says that the reason Hamas came to power was because of the occupation, the rank ignorance. Israel withdrew in 2005. There was a United States-sponsored election in 2006 in Gaza that was open and free. The Palestinian Authority, run by Mahmoud Abbas, and Yasser Arafat had just left the scene. They ran against Hamas. There was a power-sharing agreement, and Hamas murdered their fellow Palestinians and threw them off of roofs. They came to power through a democratic election that the United States insisted upon. There is no open-air concentration camp. And what you just said, that Israel killed 12,000 children and they killed them all, Hamas uses them as human shields. They are their bulletproof vests. This is a blood libel. This is rank anti-Semitism that we have suffered for 2,000 years. And Cenk, if you're too afraid to debate me, next time say no, or at least read a Wikipedia page, for God's sake.
Cenk, what I would say, just on that point about human shields, the Israeli military said today it's taken control of the Al-Shifa hospital in Gaza City. Troops came under fire from hospital buildings, 80 people detained, others killed, including Hamas terrorists. There seems little doubt that Hamas has used places like hospitals as a kind of collective human shield, does there?
No. Okay, that's absurd. So let me explain why. So again,
How
this
is it
guy, he
absurd?
claims he knows history, has a perverted, only one-side version of history. Earlier he called Senator Schumer anti-Semitic. That's the most outrageous, absurd thing I've ever heard from the most senior Jewish leader in America.
I never said any such thing. That's invention.
Okay,
I
you
never
did. You
said
could re-roll
any
the
such
tape.
thing.
Okay.
Don't invent.
Okay.
Don't invent.
Okay,
I said that he was serving as Biden's court Jew. I never said he was an anti-Semite.
And
Don't put words in my mouth.
Shmuley's defense of every atrocity and war crime of Israel is anti-Semite. And you ruined it, Shmuley, because there are real anti-Semites out there, especially now, including Candace Owens, who attacked you unfairly, and I actually defended you. Okay? But when you use it to justify the war crimes of a government, you do more damage than you help. So please stop. Okay? And that's why your own community is telling you, please stop. So you pretend like I'm some giant fan of the Turkish government or other governments, etc. But as a Turk, it's so easy for me to criticize the Turkish government.
Do you support
because
Erdogan?
it has nothing to do with being Turkish.
democracy.
So, okay,
will you
here we
condemn
go
what
again.
Erdogan has done to the country of your birth?
He won't ever stop interfering. So let me answer Pierre's question. So Pierre's, they're attacking a hospital now, and I read it this morning. They've got snipers killing anyone that crosses a window. Well, how do you know if they're patients, doctors, hostages, or Hamas? Even if you think Hamas is in the hospital, which, by the way, the IDF has never proven that in any other hospital raid that they have done. Every one of their pieces of propaganda has turned out to be a lie, disproven every single time.
Did you just say hospital
even
rape?
If hold on,
Did
can
you just say
let me
rape?
Finish? Pierce, I gotta go.
Did
this
you
guy
say
won't let
that
me finish
Jews
the
rape?
sentence.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to move to what you just alluded to, Cenk, which is this issue with Candace Owens. Because as you just said, to my surprise, you've actually supported the rabbi about this. I want to play a clip. This is Candace Owens, who has accused you, Rabbi Shmuley, of being unholy, partly because of the kosher sex empire that you are part of. Let's take a look.
There is just a very small ring of specific people who are using the fact that they are Jewish to shield themselves from any criticism. It's food for thought, right? And I think, again, there have been enough people that are speaking out about a ring in Hollywood, also a ring potentially in D.C., that we should start to ask those questions. All of us, Black, Spanish, Jewish, Chinese, Japanese, all Americans should want answers because this appears to be something that is quite sinister.
So that was what she said generally about Hollywood being run by a Jewish gang, but then she said this specifically about you.
What are you going to do next? You're going to kill me? Are you going to kill me because I refuse to kowtow to you, because I'm not fearful of you? And I think it's weird that you and your daughter are promoting and selling sex toys. That's why I deem you an unholy rabbi, because the industrialization of sex is harmful to our society everywhere. I don't care if you call it kosher sex. You're selling butt plugs on the internet. You gross me out. You disgust me. I am a better person than you, and I do not fear you. Because as I said, you don't have the ability or the strength to fracture the relationships between me and the Jewish community.
Rabbi Shmuley, your response to that?
First of all, saying that I would fracture Candace Owens, who is the queen of American anti-Semites' relation with the Jewish community, she is being condemned.
She emphatically denies being anti-Semitic.
Well, one second. She can deny that. Let's just go through it. She defended Kanye West's love of Hitler repeatedly. She says that Israel is guilty of a genocide, just like Cenk Uygur. You know, by the way, Cenk, you and I should have a beer sometime. Maybe you'll understand why Jews are so
Get his name right. His name is Cenk Uygur. I told you 3 times now.
I'm sorry, Cenk Uygur. I apologize. We should have a beer sometime. Because we Jews are tired of the lies that we're murderers. I'm killing Candace Owens. And by the way, I've noticed something very interesting, not with Cenk, but with Mohammed Ijab, who I debated on your show, and now with Candace Owens. They have an obsession with Jewish sex. It's a perverted obsession. First of all, she says that the First Lady of France has male genitalia and testicles and says as a man. She said that she would stake her whole reputation on that last week. But it's the Jews. I'm a child of divorce. The big problem of marriage today is not novelty items that might bring passion back to a monogamous relationship so it's no longer monotonous. The big problem with marriage is adultery. It's husbands who are addicted to porn. It's people like Candace Owens who sex shame people who want to have an erotic, passionate marriage. And the fact that Candace Owens is calling Jews in Hollywood murderers who are running a sex ring, which she said, in order to blackmail black artists and get them having sex with children so that they can blackmail them and shake them down with pedophilia. Listen, she's having a psychotic breakdown in public, and it's tragic. But why does her psychotic breakdown have to come out in the form of a blood libel against Jews, that Jews are murderers? Why doesn't she hate Mennonites? Why doesn't she hate Mormons?
All right,
Why doesn't she hate Buddhists?
Let me ask, look, given that, Cenk, you raised Candace Owens before I did, what is your view of this?
Yeah, this is actually a very important topic because unlike Candace Owens and Rabbi Shmuley, I make a giant, and I hope everybody does, make a giant distinction between the right-wing government of Israel and Jews across the world. Those are two very, very different things. So if you criticize Israel, Shmuley will say you're anti-Semitic. And if you say, hey, they have killed over 12,000 children, which is just a fact, it's a literal fact that the whole world agrees on, he will say it's blood libel. But no, but that's
It's
the
not a
government.
fact.
We have
It's
to be able
not
to
a fact.
criticize the
Name
government.
one source.
Hold on.
Name one source.
Let him
Name one
finish,
source
please.
that isn't Hamas. It's not a fact.
He's actually about
It's
to
not a
defend you, I
fact.
think.
You can't
So
just blood
let
libel the Jews.
Cenk speak.
There is not one source that says that except for Hamas.
Let him speak.
No, he said the whole world. I want to know one source. Is it
Let
the
him
New York
speak.
Times? Is it Newsweek? Is it Time? Who said the Jews killed 12,000 children in Hamas in Gaza? Name one source.
Literally every news organization. Literally every
Name
news
one.
organization
Name one. Since
in
it's
the world.
every, name one.
New York
Name
Times,
one.
CNN, human rights groups, World United Nations, every
That is
single
a
organization
complete
says
lie. The New York Times said they are quoting
Okay, all
Hamas
right.
figures. You are lying through your teeth.
Okay,
they never said it. Quote the date.
No,
Quote the
okay,
date.
I know.
He said every
the
news
defense
source you can't
secretary,
name
the
one.
US
Actually, for the
Blood libel.
record, multiple respectable news agencies around the world and news organizations have all said that the number of children killed in Gaza is at least as many as 10,000, probably 12,000. It may be more.
Quoting Hamas figures or quoting independently verified?
Quoting the
Here we go, here we
Hamas-run
go.
Palestinian
Hamas
Health
yes, I
Authority.
know. Okay, so quoting Hamas. So
Yeah,
at least
yeah.
say that.
Okay.
Fair enough.
But they are
Hamas
accepted.
says
They are
the Jews
accepted
killed-
by
okay.
independent organisations. Anyway, Cenk, you were about to say something about the
Nobody
Candace.
accepts Hamas figures.
I would like to ask Cenk
Respectfully,
about
nobody
the
accepts
Candace
Hamas
Owens
figures.
thing. Cenk.
Okay, so Candace Owens' critique of Israel is perfectly legitimate, although I hate to say that about anything Candace Owens says. But when she turns to the other topic and she starts talking about a ring of Jews inside America that control the media or politics, that is as anti-Semitic as it gets. That is anti-Semitic trope 101, right? There's no excuse for it. It's not remotely true. And by the way, you have to be a moron to believe things like that.
And on the
So,
specific
I mean,
point, Cenk, about the her saying that Rabbi Shmuley is unholy because of the kosher sex empire, what do you think of that?
Oh, I couldn't care less about that. I don't care if he's holy or unholy or what he does with his sex toys. I don't care at all. That is not at all germane to the topic. What is germane is do not attack Jews because of the government's actions in
Right.
Israel. Do not make assumptions about them. That is insanity and it is totally wrong.
Okay.
At the same time, you don't get to hide behind, well, Israel's a Jewish state, so we can kill anyone we like. No, that is terrible for the Jews. Don't do that. And don't
Okay,
do
hang
you
on,
really
hang on,
think
hang
that we
on. I
Jews
want to
want to
be-
kill anyone we want?
Okay, I want to be
Do
joined
we
now.
want to kill? Cenk,
We're
do you
actually
really,
going to
Cenk,
hang on,
Cenk,
Rabbi
we're being a bit
Shmuley.
more reasonable here.
Rabbi Shmuley, you're going to like this because we're going to be joined by another member of your family, your daughter Chana, who runs kosher sex
Anyway,
in
but Cenk,
Jerusalem.
thank you for saying that. Can
Is
I
George-
just thank Cenk for saying that? Thank you for saying that, Cenk.
Yeah, he was being supportive.
But
actually.
we Jews don't want to kill everybody, by the way.
But we're being joined now by Chana, who is your daughter. Chana, thank God we've got you
Hi,
to calm
everyone.
things down here. You
Yeah,
run the
I think it's time for
kosher
our sex
sex in.
shop tour.
Yeah, you run kosher sex in Jerusalem. The allegation from Candace Owens is that your father is unholy for being associated with this business. Your response?
My response is, first of all, Candace Owens, I don't take anything she says seriously. She'll say anything for attention. She knows nothing about Judaism and she knows nothing about sex, clearly. In Judaism, sex is the holiest act that two people can engage in, especially within the confines of marriage. And that's what we set out to do with kosher sex. This was a book that my dad wrote 25 years ago, and he wrote it to enhance marriage and to make it exciting and to use Jewish wisdom to keep couples connected. And I took those ideas 25 years later because sex had only taken more of a hit. Like my dad said, endless porn addiction, infidelity. People have lost the ability to connect. And the worst part is, in my opinion, is the rates of loneliness. I think that people are desperately, very tragically lonely these days. And to be shamed for wanting to connect with your spouse when you're married for 20 years and want to keep it hot and want to keep it sexy,
Chana,
Judaism is all about that.
And what are your biggest
Very
selling?
holy.
What are your biggest selling product lines?
Can I leave
Oh,
now?
well, getting into the biggest selling product. Well, Candace actually, I mean, it's funny. She she supports and defends Andrew Tate, who just got arrested again for sex trafficking. But she called these oils that I just came out with, these beautiful arousal lubricants that are made in Israel in the Holy Land, that are specifically meant to be used between couples to enhance the sexual experience, to make it more exciting, to make sex more pleasurable, last longer. And she called me, my dad, and these products filth. One word to millions of people, filth. So, well, I forgot the question. What did you want?
Well, no, you answered the question. That's obviously one
Yeah,
of your
you
biggest
answered the
selling
question.
lines. Right? But Rabbi Shmuley,
Just making sure I'm asking the question. I don't want to get,
Rabbi Shmuley, just fine. I mean, do you think there is something unholy about this, or is sex the ultimate example of good holiness?
I think that sex is the ultimate form of validation because it makes you feel desirable. It makes you feel that even when you don't have the accoutrements of Gucci or fancy clothing, that your very body, your essence is desirable. And the greatest, the tragedy of marriage today is the loss of erotic desire. It's where husbands and wives become best friends and they're no longer lovers. The average American marriage has sex 7 minutes a week, I kid you not, which includes the time the husband spends begging. 7 minutes of sex is not going to be enough for you to feel that you are more than the mother of children, but you're actually still a woman. But notice that medieval Christianity really thought that sex was only procreative and that sex is only to have babies. And she's always talking about that. But anyone who actually wants to feel that sex is fulfilling, that your erotic needs are catered to by your wife, by your husband, so you don't have to go to Pornhub or anything like that. We are weaning people off of that, and we're saving marriages.
Final question on this.
One final thing to all the
all right, I was going to ask you, how much money do you make from this?
Well, you know, not enough. The kosher sex book sold very well.
You know, obviously, you run it. Chana, how much money do you make?
So listen, this is my company.
Hannah, how much do we make on kosher sex? I got 9 kids, so I got to...
Rabbi Shmuley, you could interrupt Cenk and me. You can't interrupt your own daughter.
To help people...
Okay, I apologize.
Chana, how much money do you make?
Can I leave?
Yeah. You want me to tell you how much money I make?
Yes, from the sex stuff.
I mean, I make a living, thank God.
What, millions, or what are we talking here?
God willing. No, we're not in the millions yet. We're not in the millions yet. God willing.
No, I can say clearly. I don't make anything from it. Zero, nothing.
Okay.
And Chana's
Let me go to Cenk. Finally, Cenk.
It needs to grow, and this is great exposure. Thank you.
Okay, Cenk. We've talked a lot of controversial stuff and had a vigorous debate as always. But can we end on a point of agreement here? Do you see anything in the kosher sex business that aligns to your world values?
I couldn't care less. I'm just mainly looking forward to leaving now. So, no, I don't care about this topic at all. I don't care what he does with his dildos. I don't know what you want me to tell you.
Dildos? Where did dildos come
holy and hot.
Where did dildos? Did someone say dildos?
I don't care.
Like, you see, this is...
I don't know what you do.
Well, why did you bring it up? Wait, Cenk, I just praised you for being one of those rare people who accuse Jews of genocide.
Can I please leave?
I
don't know what sex toys
and you bring
sell.
up Jewish dildos?
Okay, we are going to release Cenk now.
Why are you
Cenk,
bringing
thank you
up
very
sex?
much
You
indeed.
know, this is the thing.
No, he wants to be.
Well, you know,
We've got to leave it
Can I
there.
answer my question to Cenk? Can I answer the question to Cenk?
Guys,
Cenk,
we've got to go. I'm
let's
sorry.
Let's have a beer sometime.
We've run out of time. Let's all have a beer and talk about
sometime. Jews are not murderers.
holy sex,
Make love,
lubricants,
not
and
wars.
dildos.
God
Why
bless
not? Can I thank my panel? Cenk, thank you as always very much. Chana, thank you for joining us from Jerusalem. Rabbi Shmuley, thank you very much indeed. I appreciate it.
Oh, let's see what this Sky News have to say here.
This is Power Hour with Gabriella Power.
Hello and welcome to Power Hour. Joe Biden has returned from his beach holiday and he's decided to do a bit of work. He joined Vice President Kamala Harris on the campaign trail earlier this week in the battleground state of Pennsylvania, where it seems he forgot that he actually dropped out of the race and is no longer running for president.
Folks, we made a lot of progress, and Kamala and I are going to build on that progress, and she's going to build on it. I'll be on the sidelines, but I'll do everything I can to help.
Look at the way he tries to save himself. He claims that he'll be on the sidelines. No, he won't. We all know he'll be back at the beach in no time, which, to be honest, is where he belongs because he shouldn't be in the White House. And if he really wants to help Kamala Harris, he should stay as far away from the campaign trail as possible. But he's back pretending he knows what's going on. So let's listen to what the 81-year-old president had to say and just see if you can make any sense of it.
You can no longer be the manufacturing capital of the world. Where the hell is that written? We are the greatest manufacturing county in the world, state in the world, city in the world. Eric Dean of the Iron Workers, Tim Driscoll of Bricklayers, April Bell of the SEIU.
Did anyone get that? Now, look, this next clip that I'm about to play for you is not funny. It's serious. It shows you how bad the president's mental decline is. After he was asked by reporters if he had a message for the families of the hostages who were tragically killed in Gaza, he claimed that he spoke to the American hostage.
Do you have a message for the hostages' families, sir?
Yes, I've spoken to the American hostage. I spoke to his mom and dad, and we're not giving up. We're going to continue to push as hard as we can.
How insulting. Now, look, it's clearly an accident, but that doesn't make it okay. Why is he still being excused? It seems we've reached the point where people see this and they don't even bat an eyelid anymore. Everyone has just accepted that America has a leader who has no idea who he is, where he is, or what he's saying. Not a clue. Meanwhile, the woman who wants to be the president of the United States, Kamala Harris, is doing a great job hiding from reporters. She decided to put headphones in as she walked past journalists and made her way to the plane, which I suppose would be fine if she was actually on the phone. Unfortunately, this was just bad acting, which she gave away. When Kamala Harris turned around to wave to reporters and photographers, she had her phone up to her ear, which is not how you would have a phone call with somebody if you were wearing headphones. Let's bring in Emily Wilson, the host of Emily Saves America. And Emily, we need you to save America right now. When you look at the gaffes that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris just keep making, it's unbearable. What do you make of the new ways Kamala Harris is going about avoiding reporters?
Well, it's funny because every time she steps foot outside or she even speaks, Trump increases in the polls. So I think it's fantastic. You also have Trump doing over 2-hour-long discussions with Elon Musk. He just did Lex Fridman. He did Theo Vaughn. I mean, Tucker Carlson. I mean, he's on every platform. And meanwhile, every time she talks, yeah, we go up in the polls. And keep in mind, this President Biden wasn't mentally fit to stand trial. And she stood there alongside of him and said that he was competent to be the president.
Yeah, and she has no regrets about lying to the American people, as we heard in that really hard-hitting interview with CNN last week. But it seems like Kamala Harris has also forgotten that she's running for president because she just keeps acting or trying out these acting skills. She tried the I'm on the phone thing before. But let's listen to how she delivers her scripted lines in Detroit.
You better thank a union member.
You better thank a union member.
Thank a union member for paid leave. You better
thank a union member for paid leave.
It is so hard to watch. Emily's is helping her.
No, it's not.
Honestly, the epitome of cringe. What's so crazy is I've seen her when she is speaking, which is so rare. She's done multiple different accents, and it's kind of funny to me. I know she's speaking to not exactly the smartest crowd, but when she does these inherently kind of like ghetto accents, which I feel like is not only kind of racist, but extremely insulting to her own audience. If Trump was changing his voice, I'd be like, what are you doing? I'd be like, this is very weird. And don't speak to us like we're dumb, but I'm not shocked with her audience.
And she does it in front of the cameras. It's I don't know why she's doing it. I feel like she has to be taking it upon herself. Surely no one is advising her to put on these accents. But the White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre was asked about why Kamala Harris keeps putting on different accents. This is her response.
Since when does the Vice President have what sounds like a Southern accent?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
She was talking about unions in Detroit using one tone of voice.
Is this something that you
Same
think?
line
Okay, Peter.
that
let's-
she used the same line in Pittsburgh, and it sounded like she at least had some kind of a southern drawl.
I mean, do you hear the question that you're? I mean, do you think Americans seriously think that this is an important question?
How's the response? Nothing to see here. You know, this is just what the White House does now, just gaslight.
It's so funny because every time Peter Ducey is in the room and asks the question, you can just see the life just flooding out of her because she's so stressed because he's the only one that they allow to ask real questions. But when she's like, does this matter? Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, I think it does matter that you're doing fake accents to your audience. And I think it's very weird. And you call Republicans weird every day. I think this is very weird and you should explain yourself. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Joe Biden is back after his 18-day vacation, and after stuffing up while speaking to reporters, he's back to just staring blankly at journalists.
May God protect our troops.
President Biden. President Biden.
Somehow he's still the president of the United States.
This is crazy. We don't see him. We don't hear for him. I mean, this is literally just straight up elder abuse at this point. This is so sad. I mean, he must be propped up on so many medications. But then again, he probably thinks that she's the president now because he doesn't know where he is. Let's keep in mind, he's been on vacation like at least 60% of the time he's been president. Trump got shot and hasn't stopped one day.
I know, it's incredible. Let's turn our attention to Donald Trump. We've spoken on this program before about how women would be better off in America if Donald Trump was elected. Now, just a few days ago, he announced a policy that would see IVF treatments, all of them, paid for the government or insurance companies. Here is Donald Trump.
I'm announcing today in a major statement that under the Trump administration, your government will pay for, or your insurance company will be mandated to pay for, all costs associated with IVF treatment, fertilization for women, IVF treatment. Because we want more babies, to put it very nicely. And for this same reason, we will also allow new parents to deduct major newborn expenses from their taxes.
An amazing announcement, yet the Democrats can't handle that Donald Trump wants to protect women, make the country a better place for women. Just over a week ago, Democrats were suggesting that he would ban IVF. Here's Michelle Obama.
Taking away our freedom to control our bodies, the freedom to become a mother through IVF like I did, those things are not going to improve the health outcomes of our wives, mothers, and daughters.
Donald Trump, he's just exposed them. They lie and they lie. But what do you make of his announcement?
Guys, I'll be back in a little bit. I got to go and pick my son up. So I'll be back in a little bit, and I'll keep this going for a little bit so you can watch the rest of this video. And when I get back, I'll log off. And later, about 6 o'clock tonight, I'll be going online to play Call of Duty Black Ops 5. I have it. Have the game and everything, so I'll be doing that. Maybe I can find some people to play with or something like that. So, yeah, I'll be back. Enjoy this, the rest of this program, and I'll be back.
Well, yeah, they said he was going to do a nationwide abortion ban, which he said no. They have to lie about him because the party that's obsessed with protecting women's rights is only obsessed with protecting women's rights when it's about killing children inside of them. They don't care about the children being slaughtered by immigrants. They don't care about the people, dying from fentanyl across our borders. And it's so funny. Everything they thought they had on him, they don't anymore. And also, I like this because if the right-wing community is going to go off about family and having children and all these things, well, this is right along with our values. This is a beautiful thing to do. And I think it's fantastic. And once again, this is another thing they're not going to have to go against him. And this is all they had. All they had was abortion and IVF. What now?
Mm-hmm. Well, it seems like the honeymoon period is over with Kamala Harris. Looking at the odds on Polymarket, Donald Trump is up by 3%. Obviously, anything can happen between now and November 5. But what do you make of the way it's shifting?
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. I'm on Polymarket every day watching because basically anytime that Kamala now gives a speech or goes into public, he goes up. And not only that, because I think he's doing so many interviews aggressively and going out there and getting on the ground with people. I think that's why he's doing so well, because a lot of these people who are interviewing him are, I think, a lot of middle voters. And not only that, he's now endorsed by RFK, and those people were definitely middle and definitely left-leaning. And it went from Make America Great Again, which it still is to all of us, to now Make America Healthy Again. So a vote for Kamala Harris is saying you want the country to be dangerous and unhealthy, and therefore you are just straight anti-American.
Emily Wilson, it is so great to speak with you. Thank you so much for joining us on Power Hour.
Thank you.
Joining us now is comedian Alex Stein, who's joining us from Texas. Alex, great to speak with you. We are 2 months away from Election Day, and we've heard from Kamala Harris supporters who are super clear about why they like her, what policies of hers that they like, and why they're going to vote for her.
Trump or Kamala?
Kamala.
Kamala, why?
She's not Trump.
She's not Trump. Okay, what's your favorite policy of Kamala's?
Actually, I don't know any of her policies.
What's one of your favorite policies of Kamala?
I had to pick between the two of them. I'm just picking her because it feels like the lesser of two evils.
Trump or Kamala?
Oh, Kamala.
Kamala. Why Kamala?
She is really a smart lady. I think she has all the tools she needs to be a president.
Alex, they make a lot of sense, don't they?
Yeah, they make no sense, but really they don't have anything to say. I mean, Kamala was supposed to be in charge of the border. She didn't do anything with that. I just wish they were honest and they said that they like her because she's an African-American woman. I mean, that would actually be, justifiable, but they can't even say that. So that shows you how much support she truly has. She has no support, just people don't like Donald Trump. They're just voting against Trump. They're not voting for Kamala Harris.
And at this point in time, do you think more and more people are realizing that Kamala doesn't really have a lot to offer?
I think so, but what is going to be most important is this debate coming up next Tuesday. I think that will wake a lot of people up. But right now, people don't even take into account the fact that she's been the vice president for the past 3 years. So a lot of our problems right now with inflation, just the fact that we're basically about to head to World War III, she could be stopping all this currently. But she's running on a campaign of stuff she's going to potentially do. So people need to wake up. Sadly, it's hard to wake up somebody that doesn't really want to.
Now, I want to talk to you about Tim Walz. We've seen how Kamala Harris avoids reporters, but just take a look at this guy who wants to be the vice president and how he responded when he was asked a serious question about the murder of 6 hostages, including an American citizen by Hamas in Rafah.
What's your reaction to the 6 hostages being found dead in Gaza?
Thanks, everybody.
How can he be the vice president when he responds like that?
Well, he's a coward, but he knows that his state of Minnesota is very pro-Palestinian, so he's going to just not say anything that could be even considered controversial. And sadly, I guess that's how you win in politics. I like a politician like Donald Trump that's not afraid to speak his mind, but once he gets asked, Tim Walz gets asked one hard question, thank you, see ya, goodbye. Politicians are supposed to answer hard questions, whether they like it or not, whether we like the answer or not. But Tim Walz is just going to lie about his service in the military. He's going to lie to people's faces about what he's going to do when he's vice president. And he's just going to ignore people that have serious issues like the 6 hostages that were murdered. And CNN said they died. It's really sad because not only is Tim Walz wrong, but the mainstream media that's covering it is also wrong and insensitive.
We had that here in Australia as well. We had left-wing media outlets reporting that they died, not that they were in fact murdered, killed by Hamas terrorists. Now, as you mentioned, Tim Walz has lied. Megyn Kelly interviewed 4 veterans who served with Tim Walz, and they say he's a liar who abandoned his troops. Here's a grab.
Why did you come forward?
It is morally indefensible. He didn't care. It was all about him.
He's a military impersonator. I don't understand how he could do it morally, or you got absolutely no integrity. The rumor went across the state that he had quit, and it was like Who the hell does that? I mean, it was just unbelievable that a CSM abandoned his troops, 500 soldiers basically, but beyond that, there's 1,000 parents out there that expect that person to lead those people into combat.
He's a habitual liar. He lies about everything. He lies about stuff that doesn't make sense. You're taking a piece of their thunder and you're trying to capture it and put it in a bottle for yourself and use that for your own benefit.
He basically said, I've got better things to do. Go pick somebody else to go on a mission. Well, if you sold out your guard unit and abandoned them, I mean, what are you going to do at the national level?
Fear is a reaction. Bravery is a decision. And Walls has made the wrong decision. He's not brave. I call him a coward because he is.
The message is very clear. What's your reaction?
Well, my reaction is that the cover-up is always worse than the crime. I mean, Tim Walz did give 24 years of service to the American people, but sadly, him making this lie and then now covering up for the lie, it just makes his whole entire military career worthless, and it just makes him look like an absolute coward, which he is. So that's what makes me mad, is the fact that, first of all, he got caught lying and saying that, he faced battle in Afghanistan. Just admit it. America, we're all about second chances. So covering up his lies just shows you that he has no integrity whatsoever. And just like Kamala Harris lying about working at McDonald's, these politicians will constantly lie if they think it'll help them get ahead. I mean, I don't know how we're ever going to get the real truth from any elected official.
Yeah, well said. Look, I'm ready to move on from Tim Walz, but we just have to go through one more painful part where he fronted up for that CNN interview with Kamala Harris. I don't know why he was there, but he was asked to respond about the claim that he made that he carried weapons in war, and this is how he responded.
The idea that you said that you were in war. Yeah. Did you misspeak, as the campaign has said?
Yeah, I said we were talking about, in this case, this was after a school shooting, the ideas of carrying these weapons of war. And my wife, the English teacher, told me my grammar is not always correct.
So he's not a liar, he just has bad grammar.
Yeah, it's like when I said when my dog ate my homework when I was in elementary school. And the fact that he throws his wife under the bus, he must not love her. If I did that to my girlfriend, she'd kill me. So, I mean, that just shows you the type of guy he is. He'll do anything to get ahead, even throw his own wife and blame her basically for his bad grammar. It doesn't make sense. And it wasn't a grammar error because he got caught saying it multiple times. So, yeah, it was definitely not a grammar issue whatsoever.
Well, speaking of great guys, we heard from George Clooney this week, who played a pretty crucial role, as you may remember, in getting Joe Biden out, to get him to drop out of the race. But now he says that Joe Biden is just a selfless guy, and he even compared him to George Washington.
What should be remembered is the selfless act of someone who, it's very hard to let go of power. We know that. We've seen it, all around the world. And for someone to say, I think there's a better way forward, that's all the credit goes to him. And that's really the truth. And all the rest of it will be long gone and forgotten.
I'm actually lost for words, Alex. What do you make listening to George Clooney?
I agree with George Clooney. He is selfless. He doesn't even know who he is anymore. He has no idea. Joe Biden's on the beach in Delaware, just sitting there. Who am I? Where am I supposed to go? What day of the week is it? Am I still in the election? So, I mean, in a way, he is right. He's not even a human being anymore. He's not autonomous. He's being controlled by people like a puppet right now. And you know what? I feel bad, not for George Clooney. I mean, he's got a very good life. But I feel bad for Joe Biden just being puppeted and paraded around. The guy needs to retire, and he needs to just, go relax. Because like George Clooney said, he's selfless, but it wasn't his choice. He doesn't even get to choose to stay in the race. So he has no control over the decisions that he gets to make or that the country gets to make.
Well, Joe Biden is back from the beach, and he's back pretending that he's running the country. Here he is.
Folks, we made a lot of progress, and Kamala and I are going to build on that progress, and she's going to build on it. I'll be on the sidelines, but I'll do everything I can to help.
Looks like he forgot that he is no longer running for president. Should he go back to Delaware?
He does need to go back to Delaware, and mark my words, Joe Biden has no idea who Tim Walz is. He has no idea who's running with Kamala. He has no idea what's going on. He has no idea that World War III is going to happen. I mean, let's just be real. He's in a serious mental decline, because I know people his age that are still very spry and very sharp. And there was a time when, believe it or not, Joe Biden was a sharp politician.
Yeah.
But those days are long gone. He needs to retire, and I think they're going to get rid of him so they can put Kamala as president before the election. So this should scare all of us that she's going to be able to kind of get in through the back door and potentially stay the president if she wins this election.
We'll wait and see. Alex Stein, so great to speak with you.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
Let's go to the UK now, where Prime Minister Keir Starmer's ratings have dropped to their lowest level yet. According to a YouGov poll, only a third of people in the UK have a favourable view of him. Joining us now is geopolitics and finance expert Roger Giewolb, who is in London for us. Roger, what's he doing wrong?
Just about everything. Only 20% of people actually voted for him. And his rating has really dropped. He has the opportunity, after 14 years of really messed up, incompetent, unlistening Tory conservative rule, Keir Starmer and Labour have the opportunity to be real heroes. They could fix all of the many things that are wrong with this country very quickly, some of them in an afternoon, and yet they are proceeding in totally the opposite direction and alienating huge swathes of the British public.
Can you go into a bit more detail? How do you see this playing out for Keir Starmer?
Well, I think that starting out where it hurts the most, pocketbooks, he made a big thing of not raising taxes. And he did mention several particular taxes that he won't raise. But he and Rachel Reeves, his money person, his Chancellor of the Exchequer, the first ever woman Chancellor, do seem intent on raising taxes in areas that they didn't mention. So they will increase inheritance tax, they will increase capital gains tax and hit entrepreneurs. They will, there's some word being mooted, charge so many pence per mile to drive your car in Britain now, which is really going to be incredibly unpopular. And he said that he will not raise the national insurance. In other words, when you get your paycheck, there is a deduction by the government on you and a charge to your employer. So he's not going to touch the employee charge, but he is going to increase the charge to employers, which simply gets passed on. So I think the tax and the money aspect is the first area where he's lost a lot of credibility. The other is freedom of speech. I mean, he's actually emptying prisons of thousands and thousands of pretty serious criminals and filling up their cells with hundreds of people who have posted critical comments on social media. Now, most of them do seem to be very inappropriate things that incited riots and were, hate crimes in themselves. But he does seem to be, many say, clamping down on freedom of speech. And a lot of people are saying it's 1984 here.
Okay, let's look at the crisis in the Middle East. In Israel, tens of thousands of Israelis protested against Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, demanding a ceasefire for a hostage deal. Look, the anger towards Benjamin Netanyahu has been increasing after the tragic news broke that 6 more captives were horrifically killed in Gaza.
That Bibi Netanyahu is not doing enough at all. He is killing kids and he's killing the hostages by leaving them there.
Roger, it's been almost 11 months now. No wonder there is so much anger.
It's still a very small proportion of Israelis, as we understand it, that are critical of Netanyahu for not making a peace deal, because after all, how do you make a peace deal? How do you have a ceasefire with a terrorist group that says it's not going to lay down its arms? I mean, it would mean the destruction of Israel the next day if they stopped fighting while Hamas continued. So one can understand absolutely how those people feel, and especially the group of hostage families, absolutely. but Netanyahu is holding firm. Some people are criticizing him, just saying he's trying to hold on to political power by satisfying the more extreme factions in his government. But at the same time, other analysts are saying, well, yeah, but I mean, how could you have a ceasefire with these people? Just killing those 6 poor hostages just before they were to be released doesn't send a message that one is progressing towards peace.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, anti-Semitism is still on full display. Thousands of anti-Israel protesters, some waving Hamas flags, stormed through New York City on Labor Day. Take a look. Roger, can I get your reaction to the protests?
I think they started out because, of course, there were also protests at Columbia University again, and other parts of New York. I think they started out, the reports say, as peaceful protests, but as so often happens with these, they then turn quite negative, quite nasty. I just think it's absolutely disgusting. On the day that an American citizen, one of the hostages, was being laid to rest, to be waving Hamas flags, that must be some sort of hate crime under New York law. I mean, it's just, Hamas is a terrorist organization, and what those people in the streets, however well-meaning they are about peace in the region and Palestinians and the rest, I mean, surely they know that Hamas and Islamic Jihad and all these other groups intend that everybody else is next. The Jews are just the canary in the mine. Anybody who's an infidel, including all those many, many millions of Muslims who don't practice their extreme form of Islam, are the next targets. So what are they out there waving flags for if somebody who wants to get rid of them as well? I find it very puzzling and very offensive to be seeing Hamas flags going down the streets in New York City.
Yeah, it's very hard to watch time and time again. Staying in the United States, the high-stakes debate between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris is only a week away. There are reports that Kamala Harris will spend at least 5 days in the lead-up to it preparing intensely. How do you think she'll go?
I think she's going to be much better than she has been. I mean, people were really disappointed, Gabriella, that she only spoke for 27 minutes instead of, I suppose, an hour or so. I think she'll do better because, she's been under a hard grind now and a lot of pressure, but I don't think she'll be any match for Donald Trump. There's still a lot of debate about whether the microphones will be muted or left on. And if they're left on, that gives Trump an opportunity to interrupt and score points and all the rest, and her too, but it's probably more his style. I mean, I think he'll probably win the debate hands down. There's no way. She's just not a strategic enough thinker, nor an accomplished enough strategist or speaker to prevail over someone like Trump. But look, I keep all over the place on networks all around the world. I keep getting asked this question, and I keep saying the same thing. Let me ask you a question. If you wanted somebody to be president of the United States and leader of the free world, and the person who currently held that role stood down and said, I'm not going to run, wouldn't you put your candidate in place the next morning so they could show their stuff and show what they can do? Why is Joe Biden, who has trouble telling what day it is sometimes, still running America and leading the free world? Why isn't Kamala the new president? I'll tell you for why. Because it's very likely that she would mess up and create quite an embarrassment about something before the 5th November, and then the Democrats' goose would be cooked. There's already enough stuff coming out about their links to China and all sorts of other stuff, which is going to not do them a lot of good. And if Kamala just put her foot wrong and said one wrong thing, which she's very likely to do, that would be it for them. But I just think it's amazing that he's still running the country and she's standing there.
Oh, he's apparently running the country. He's been at the beach for most of the week, but look, he is back. I want to talk to you about Ukraine before I let you go. According to US officials, the Biden administration is close to agreeing to giving Ukraine long-range cruise missiles, but Kyiv will need to wait several months due to technical issues. The US has provided over $55 billion in military aid since Russia's invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. Roger, do you think that the US should keep pouring money into it?
No, I don't. I don't think anybody should. And I know a lot of people disagree with me, but, all the geopolitics experts that I know, and that's quite a few, are now saying, if this was happening a year ago, bravo, but it's too late. It's time to negotiate. The Ukraine is at best creating a bargaining chip by their invasion of Russia. They are at best, by all these efforts, creating just a bargaining chip. They're not going to win. It's time to end this and negotiate. This war is ridiculous to keep carrying on. Some people are calling it Zelensky's ego trip. I'm not sure about that. That might be a bit extreme. But I think he's a patriotic guy. But I think it needs to stop, because all of this money, when we need it for things at home, I mean, the National Health Service in the UK, your own immigration problems in Australia. I mean, money is needed everywhere domestically, and to pour it into this bottomless pit, I think is unwise at this point. We're past the point where it's going to make a difference.
Dr. Roger Giwob, so great to speak with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Prince Harry has reconnected with his Spencer family roots during a secret stay at Princess Diana's former home. Riley Sullivan is a reporter here at skynews.com.au, and he's always across the latest headlines from the royal family. Riley, great to see you.
Great to be back.
Prince Harry returned to the UK last week for the funeral of his uncle, Robert Fellows, and the Duke is understood to have stayed at the Spencer family's ancestral home. What do we know about the stay?
Right. Well, as we know, Harry flew into the UK very, very much under the cover of darkness last week to attend the funeral of his uncle, Robert Fellows. This was the husband of Princess Diana's sister, and it's understood that they were pretty close with Harry and William, so it wasn't unsurprising that he went, but it definitely wasn't announced ahead of time. And since Harry's returned back to California, we found out that he did stay at the Spencer family ancestral home, Althorpe. This home was Diana's home growing up, and it's now in the possession of her brother, Earl Spencer. And it's understood that Harry stayed there. It's kind of a somber place for Harry, because it's also where Princess Diana is actually buried at the home. She's buried, it's kind of like a lake on the grounds, and it's very private and discreet, and obviously that was the idea. So certainly a very emotional trip, I'm sure, for Harry.
Yeah, indeed. Look, Harry and his wife Meghan have reportedly lost their 10th staff member in under 3 years. Who's the latest member of the Sussex to hand in their notice?
Right. Well, this week we found out that actually they've lost their head of communications for Archewell, and her name was Christine. She was very highly regarded. She previously worked for Apple, so definitely one of their big hires that they took on in 2021, and unfortunately it didn't work out. She's handed in her notice. It was actually happened a few months ago, but it's only come out now. So I think that's quite interesting. I don't know if that was a mutual decision to keep it quiet, but certainly it does not look good for Meghan and Harry. I mean, they have this reputation of burning through staff members. So,
There's
once
another
again...
one. 10. So many.
Right.
It doesn't help them.
No.
Look, Prince William has announced our very own Robert Irwin as the newest ambassador for his Earthshot Prize charity. What did Robert have to say about his new royal role?
Yeah, I thought this was just a fantastic partnership. We've got Robert Irwin, who's in a way Australia's royalty, maybe.
Absolutely.
And very, very much just a great guy, very highly regarded. People often say in the Australian media industry that he's just gold. Everything he touches turns to gold. And he's teamed up with Prince William for the Earthshot Prize charity as an ambassador. Of course, this is an environmental charity. It's very much in keeping with the values that Robert Irwin, and his family have always emphasised, and that is all about environmentalism, protecting the environment, protecting endangered species. And I just think it's a great partnership. I think it really shows that William and his team really are just masterful in how they seek out these partnerships and they pick ambassadors that they know will resonate. And I just think it's a great deal. And Robert was, he said he was very honoured by it, and he sort of echoed this whole feeling of using the platform to not only like draw attention to a worthy cause, but also, his legacy and his family legacy.
Yeah, absolutely. We love to see it. Great partnership indeed.
Fantastic.
Makes us very proud. Norway's Princess Martha Louise married an American shaman over the weekend. Look, what do we know about the big day and why her new husband is so controversial?
Right. Well, we don't talk a lot about the Scandinavian royals, but over the weekend, Princess Martha Louise married for the second time. She married a man named Derek Verrett, who is a self-professed shaman. He apparently is a friend of Gwyneth Paltrow, and he's quite a colourful character. Awkwardly, some people in the Norwegian media think he's a bit of a conman. They think that, allegedly, that he has, done some things in the past that are a bit questionable. But then again, Martha Louise is quite a controversial royal. She famously considers herself a clairvoyant. She embraces spirituality. And she's actually, much like Harry and Meghan, she's not a working royal. I think the Norwegian royal family have been put in this position where they're a close-knit family. She's the only daughter of the king, King Harold, and she has one brother who will be the next king. And I think they're a close-knit family, but I think that they've had to kind of split from her a little bit publicly. So at this wedding, it wasn't a normal royal wedding. Like, we didn't see crowds lining up outside. It was all kind of under wraps, but there was a lot of royals there and a lot of celebrities there. Including members of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Like, just all these kind of random American people flew in for the wedding. And we also sort of found out that it will be the subject of a Netflix documentary. So stay tuned for that.
Watch this space. Riley Sullivan, so great to speak with you. Thank you.
Great to see you. Thank you.
That is Power Hour. Thank you for your company. We'll see you next week. Make sure you subscribe to Sky News Australia on YouTube.
Time to count down the best of the Barneys and bus stops on Piers Morgan Uncensored in 2023.
Wake up, people!
Because no festive season is complete without a good old-fashioned argument. Well, I'm asking
Who determines? Do you get to determine it?
No,
Does she get to determine
I'm asking you
Who gets to determine what the line
I'm asking you
is?
to work out.
I was coerced into this interview.
You weren't coerced into this interview.
Yes, I was. Fine.
Answer my
question. If you want to just shout at me, that's your prerogative,
should Hamas,
your TV, your show.
Should Hamas stay in power? It's the question. I'd rather do it on camera.
No. Why? We'll explain why.
You're not prepared to apologise to millions of people for screwing their personal finances. You don't care about the little guy. Billions of bees get murdered, and you don't care.
Why are you against nuclear weapons?
Well, hang on.
If you're not against Dresden, why are you against nuclear weapons?
Let me ask the question. I've done this before, this job. Let me do it.
I've been answering your question. You answer mine.
It's actually not my job to answer your questions. Welcome to the 12 ding-dongs of Christmas. And straight in at number 12, pop star Sam Smith, pronouns they, there, for the moment, was in the news this year for a rather racy concert performance. I invited James Barr and Douglas Murray to give us their uncensored review. Douglas, let me start with you. I don't get this Sam Smith thing. It just seems like every week he deliberately... I'm sorry, they, even though there's only one of them. Why is Sam Smith they?
No, please do address Douglas first, but I just need to correct you if you're going to misgender. That's how they identify themselves, Piers.
Why is one person they?
Because that's how they identify.
Why have I got to go along with it?
Because they've asked you to.
So what? No one's asked me to.
Even the Pope respects people's pronouns now.
I don't have to respect anybody's pronouns.
Well, that's fine as long as that's your decision.
My pronoun is hottest man in the world.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to call you that,
Well,
Piers.
go on then.
Some may disagree, but
Go on
if that's what you are, then cool, I will address you as the hottest man in the world.
Throughout the entire interview?
Throughout the entire interview.
Okay, let's stick to that. Douglas, let's come back to you. You don't have to call me the hottest man in the world, even if you're thinking it. Sam Smith. To me, he's just on an ever-deteriorating campaign to be as vulgar and defensive as he possibly can. Am I missing something?
He's doing what pop stars have done for decades, which is trying to shock as a means to get publicity. And, of course, it's pretty successful. I mean, we're talking about him at the moment. But it's striking that it's sort of very unoriginal. I mean, all the stuff he's doing, the sort of over-sexualized stuff, the sort of satanic stuff. Madonna did this 40 years ago. Pop stars have done this and more for
All right, guys. I am going to log out, and I'll be back on tonight at 6. I love you guys. You guys take care and have